Have you ever noticed how credit cards seem to be absolutely everywhere these days? Not just sitting quietly in your wallet. They're invading your mailbox, flooding your email inbox, and popping up as ads on nearly every website you visit. It can feel like the entire financial industry is practically begging you to sign up. Get rewarded for your everyday spending. Zero interest for the first year. Get 50,000 bonus miles just for joining. It's an enticing chorus of promises. It all sounds like free money. But peel back the glossy surface and the reality reveals itself. It's a carefully crafted system, engineered to pull you in, keep you spending, and ultimately funnel as much of your hard-earned cash as possible straight into the bank's pockets. Today, we're going to uncover the dark truth about credit cards, the things they'd rather you never figure out, because once you do, it might completely change how you handle your money from this day forward. So stick around because some of what you're about to hear might truly surprise you. And by the end, you'll see why, for most people, credit cards are far less of a harmless convenience and much more of a silent financial trap. Let's start with one of the biggest secrets hiding in plain sight. How these little pieces of plastic actually change the way your brain thinks about spending. Most people believe they're totally in control. They'll say things like, "I'm responsible. I'd spend the same whether it's cash or credit." But here's the uncomfortable reality. Multiple studies conducted by behavioral economists and psychologists all over the world prove that we spend significantly more when we use credit cards instead of cash. Why is that? Because when you physically hand over cash, there's a tangible sense of loss. You see those $20 bills slip out of your hand forever and it stings just a little bit. Your brain registers that moment as something real. But swipe a card, tap your phone, or click Buy Now online. That feels abstract, almost like play money. The connection between spending and losing something valuable becomes blurry. Retailers know this. Credit card companies certainly know it. In fact, stores actively encourage credit card use because they know shoppers will spend 12 to 18% more on average than if they were paying with cash. Really stop and think about that for a moment. If you plan to spend $500 on a weekend trip, you might casually end up dropping $560, $580, or even $600, all without blinking. Why? Simply because paying with plastic doesn't create the same moment of hesitation that cash does. It doesn't sting the way handing over your hard-earned bills would. It's subtle psychology, but it works astonishingly well, and it's one of the biggest reasons credit cards are so profitable for banks. If you're finding this video helpful so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful insights on how to protect and grow your money. Now let's dive into something even darker, the crushing, quietly devastating weight of credit card interest. Right now, the average credit card APR sits somewhere between 18% and 30%. Depending on your credit score. That means if you carry a balance, you're paying massive amounts, sometimes life-changing amounts, just for the privilege of borrowing money. Let's break it down with a simple example. Imagine you bought a new laptop and a few extras totaling $2,000, and you only make the minimum payments. With a 24% interest rate, it could easily take you over 10 years to pay off that balance. And by the end, you'll have shelled out nearly $4,000, double what the laptop originally cost. Think about what that means. Your $2,000 laptop actually cost you $4,000. It's like buying two laptops and immediately throwing one straight into the trash, or handing over an extra $2,000 to the bank, money you could have saved or invested just because you didn't pay off the balance right away. And here's the kicker that makes this truly insidious. Interest compounds. That means next month, they're not just charging you interest on your original balance, they're also charging interest on last month's interest. It's a sneaky, silent way banks keep you locked into a cycle of debt for as long as possible. Now, I know what many people proudly say at this point, but I use my credit card for the points. I'm clever. I'm playing the system. They're actually paying me. And that right there is exactly what the banks want you to believe. Those points, cashback offers, and shiny airline miles. They're carefully designed bait. You might get 1% or 2% back, But if you ever carry a balance, you're paying 20 to 30% interest on that same money. Even if you do pay off your card each month, studies show people spend more simply because of the lure of rewards. It's the same psychological principle casinos use: little, unpredictable wins that keep you coming back and betting even more. Let's break this down with a quick example. Say your card gives you 1.5% cash back. You spend $1,000 and hooray, the bank gives you $15 back. Feels great, doesn't it? A little victory. But here's the hidden truth. They know most people won't pay off the balance in full. So after a few months of interest piling up, that original $1,000 balance could balloon to $1,200, meaning they handed you $15 while quietly taking $200 from you. When you step back and look at it, who's really winning that game? Now let's talk about one of the quietest, most deceptive traps of all, the so-called minimum payment. When your statement says minimum due $35, it sounds almost compassionate. Like the bank is saying, hey, we get it, times are tight, just pay a little for now, we'll work with you. But in reality, minimum payments are specifically designed to keep you trapped in debt for as long as possible. Because that $35, it mostly covers interest. It barely touches the principal. So next month, you owe nearly the same amount, plus new interest on top of last month's interest. It's like being stuck on a treadmill. You're running and running and running, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're just making sure the bank keeps collecting month after month, year after year. And even if you manage to avoid paying interest, there's a whole minefield of fees quietly waiting for you. There are annual fees just for the privilege of having the card, late payment fees if your bill gets lost in your crowded inbox, over-limit fees if you accidentally charge even a single dollar over your credit line, foreign transaction fees if you decide to travel or shop on an international website, balance transfer fees if you try to shuffle your debt around to save on interest, cash advance fees if you ever pull money from an ATM. Each of these might seem small on their own, $10, $20, $35 here and there, but collectively they add up faster than most people ever realize. In fact, banks rake in over $100 billion every single year just from fees paid by consumers like you. It's one of the quiet engines of profit that keeps the entire credit card industry humming. And here's maybe the most subtle and sinister part of all: your credit score. Our entire financial system pressures you to build, guard, and protect this mysterious 3-digit number. Want to buy a house, lease a car, even rent a decent apartment? Everyone's going to check your credit score. But here's the catch. How do you build a good credit score? By staying in the game, by borrowing, by using credit cards, keeping your balances low but never completely disengaging, and by making your payments on time. If you step away from the system entirely, if you live completely debt-free for too long, ironically, your credit score can drop. It's like a twisted loyalty program. The more you borrow, the more you prove you can handle debt, the more they reward you with a better score. Try living without debt for a few years, and suddenly, the system says you're not trustworthy anymore. Why? Because the banks and the credit bureaus built it that way, to keep you playing the game indefinitely. By now, you might be feeling pretty fired up. So what's the actual solution? Should you cut up every card you own and vow to never borrow a dime again? Not necessarily. Credit cards can still be useful, but only if you're extremely disciplined. They offer fraud protection, make renting cars or booking hotels easier, and yes, they'll give you those small rewards. But here's the golden rule that changes everything. Never, ever carry a balance. Pay your card off in full every single month. Treat it exactly like a debit card. If you don't already have the cash in your account to pay for it today, don't buy it. Ignore all the hype around points. Sure, enjoy your tiny perks, but never let them lure you into spending more. Set up autopay so you never get hit with a late fee that could spike your interest rate through the roof.